And a warm welcome on what is a glorious day in Hull today. And I was up in North Yorkshire this week delivering leadership and communication training at for a group of care homes, and they brought in all the management team of the care homes, and the goal was to teach them how to manage people more effectively. We did a blended program of video e-learning and face-to-face training, and one of the things we decided to really focus on was holding people to account and delivering feedback, whether that's positive feedback or negative feedback. And I made the point that I don't call it feedback. I call it praise or criticism. You know, positive feedback for me is just praise. Like, why are you calling it feedback? It's praise. If it's negative feedback, it's criticism. This is a philosophical point for me. It's like, the reason we call criticism feedback is because we're scared of conflict. That's all. We're scared of conflict. Kind of being a little bit cowardly. We're trying to soften the blow. Oh, don't worry, I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing. It's just feedback. It's just feedback. That's all it is. No, it's criticism. All right, don't be a coward. Just call it what it is. Now, there might be something in between praise and criticism, something that's entirely neutral. You could call that feedback. Okay, fair enough. But when you call praise feedback, positive feedback, I think you're diluting that as well. You're softening the blow again, and you don't want to soften the blow for praise. You want praise to be really good. Anyway, one of the big mistakes people were making on this session was their praise and their criticism were too vague, too general. So we had one where the example given was someone wasn't scanning the medication properly before dispensing it to residents, and therefore they might be giving out too many meds. There wasn't a good paperwork trail, audit trail of the medications that have been handed out. And so the feedback given, the criticism given was, you're not dispensing the meds properly. So, well, that's a bit vague, isn't it? It says, well, I've given medications to all the customers, all the residents who needed medications. No one's died, no one's overdosed. It's like, clearly I must be doing something right. Yeah, but you're not doing it properly. So, well, define properly. Turns out properly is you missed 2 boxes when scanning them. Okay, right, well, that's what you need to say then. Instead of saying you're not doing it properly, which is something we could argue over, you know, because on the whole, I am doing it properly. There's these 2 boxes I kind of missed, but I did all the others properly. Yeah, okay, so we have to be specific and say, listen, when you've handed out the medications, it turns out that you've handed out 2 boxes of medication more than is registered on the system, which means that there are 2 boxes that you handed out and weren't scanned. Where did they go? Right, so that is factual. That cannot be debated. That can't be argued with. And one of the big failures that we have when we deliver criticism is that we give criticism that is too vague and too general, and then people argue and they get defensive and they try and justify themselves. It's a little bit like you and your partner. You know, if your partner says, oh, you never listen. I say, well, actually, most of the time I do. But, you know, I've had one busy week and I haven't been completely attentive this week. But I did listen to you on Monday. Don't say I never listen. I never listen. You know what I mean? Yeah, these types of arguments. Because you're clumsy with your words. You haven't chosen your words carefully. You can say, listen, you can say, okay, just stop. I'm talking to you right now and I can tell you're not quite paying attention to me. And I noticed that yesterday at lunchtime when I was talking to you, I noticed I also had to repeat myself a couple of times and you weren't quite paying attention. And you did it on Monday as well. That's being specific. And it's like, yeah, okay. You caught me. You got me there. And then you can have maybe a better conversation. So the exercise we did was very, very simple. We did loads of role play. People hate role play, but it's really beneficial. And it's very simple. They just had to choose something to criticize someone with, a fake scenario. And they simply had to say very specifically, here's exactly what I saw you do, very specifically. Here is the negative result of that. Here's what could happen if you do that. So I noticed there are 2 boxes of medications that have been dispensed that weren't scanned on the system. That could mean that customers are getting too much medication. They could overdose. It also means that we are breaking the law, breaking our licenses to dispense medicines and so on. If you take time and care to scan each box carefully and you listen for the beep and you watch carefully on the screen to make sure it's been scanned, That way you will ensure that everyone gets the medication they're supposed to get, and in just the right amounts. And then I can feel comfortable that we are meeting our legal requirements. And then we always end with getting commitment. Can I count on you to do that? Can I rely on you to do that? Will you do that for me in future? Does that sound unreasonable? No. Okay, right. So you ask a question to get their commitment. Anyway, there we are. I hope that was useful. Catch you in another video. If anyone agrees, disagrees, put it in the comments below. See you later.